Welcome back to the workshop. It's fantastic to have you here because we're working on a katana, and specifically we're going to be working on the handle of the katana, but the glue is still drying. It's only been about 14 hours or so now. So the first step is indeed we're going to be working on the Kashira, which is the butt cap. Starting to try and get a hang of how to call these things properly. So what is a butt cap? Well, it goes on the end of the handle and is ovalized to fit obviously the cross section of the handle. It extends out a little bit, tends to have a little bit of a nice kind of radius on the back side there. But the most important feature of it is there are two holes on either side through which the cotton that wraps around the handle can be tied through. Now I'm trying to decide what material it is that I use for the Kashira. So I'm going to put together the fittings that I have so far. Naturally we've got one sepper. Oh, that was worth making a sepper. That looks so awesome. So we got one copper sepper, we've got a wrought iron, and one more copper sepper. Now that is just going to look fantastic with those beefy copper seppers. But the question still is, what material do I use for the butt cap? Kashira. Now what are the choices between? The choices between copper and the choices between wrought iron. And that's a very difficult choice to make because I've got a lot of copper up there and we've got a little bit of wrought iron. We don't have... God, it's a difficult choice, but copper would be very easy to work. I could take a piece of that sheet, we could make a form, we could anneal some sheet, drive it in, boom, bada bing, bada boom, we've got ourselves that cool piece. Wrought iron would be a lot more difficult to work. Copper, thankfully, it can be worked cold by annealing, which means that you have all the time in the world to work with it. Wrought iron, instead, very prone to tearing apart, especially if you don't work it in the proper way. So many big risks with working the wrought iron over the copper, but I think you've probably worked out the choice that I've made. One of my favorite things about blacksmithing is when you need something, most of the time, you make it yourself. You need something, you make it. You need a tool, you make the tool. You need a tool to make the tool, you make the tool to make the tool, to make the tool, to make the thing that you're making. It's great fun. It's great fun. It's one of the only craft forms where you yourself make all of your own tools. There's a beautiful expression. I can't remember exactly how the story goes, but it's something along the lines of, you know, at a medieval banquet for all the craftsmen of a local village, everybody sits down and I've forgotten how it goes. But oh well. Everybody realizes that all of their tools are made by the blacksmith. It's an exciting thing. The king of the crafts. I've got these two pieces of steel. These are mid-carbon alloy steels, so they're great for making tools out of. Great for making stuff that's going to be put under high pressure. It's decently heat resistant. The material is 4340. Now what that is a chromium alloy steel with 0.4% carbon, a little bit of chromium, but also 2% of nickel. So it's similar to a 4140 apart from the added, it's a nickel steel really is what it is, not a chromium steel. But it has 0.4% carbon. It is similar to 4140, which is common like axle material, except the 2% nickel. So funnily enough, 4340 is very similar to the material that I used to be the light color in my Damascus steel, other than the fact that it lacks about 0.4% carbon. The light color in the Damascus steel called 15N20, about 0.7 to 0.85% carbon, something like that, and 2% nickel here. We've only got the 0.4% carbon and the 2% nickel. So that nickel helps get us some toughness and a little extra strength, and it's great for applications like your tooling, you know, all these top tools, bottom tools, stuff like that. It's great, as is your 4140. Now what's the plan? Well, the samurai sword handle, the katana handle itself, appears to be very similar to my hammer handles in cross-section. Best way I've ever described a hammer handle, and this is the way that Brian Brazil first described it to me, was it is a capsule shape. It is a round piece of steel, wood, that has been flattened on two sides. Now, despite being a layman, my understanding of the katana handle is it is very similar itself. We've got the two pieces of steel because we need to make one tool that is going to drive down the wrought iron and another tool that is going to make the bottom die that we drive the wrought iron down into. wrought iron. That is super difficult. It does not want to stay together well enough. That tool I made, it's not brought down enough. I've still not sunk that first tool I made into that die, that bottom tool, as far as it's gonna go, because I wanted to do it in stages. I wanted to do a little bit of cupping on the wrought iron and then go a little further and then a little further by then sinking down the tool that it's being formed into. Similar to when they make aluminium cans, they go through several different forming processes so you're not stressing the material too much in the one go. I wanted to go through several different things but have the one tool and basically press it in as the tool gets formed itself. Make any sense? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. So sadly, it's not going to work in the wrought iron that I've got, so I'm going to try it out on mild steel. Well, this has not worked very successfully, and I believe I know why. I think there is too much of a size difference between these two, the punch and the die, for this thickness of material to work in it. So we're going to take another piece of steel. Now this is obviously much too thick, but we're going to cut it off. We're going to forge down a little bit of a flat there, and we'll see if this thicker material works any better for us. Again, another failure, even with the mild steel. This is why I liked doing just small steps at a time with the wrought iron, because of just this precise risk of tearing. The wrought iron didn't tear this way, the wrought iron tore at its seams. This tore the way that I worried this might tear. Back to the drawing board. Okay, so I don't have a drawing board, but we're going to flatten it out again and see if we can tweak the process. It looks like we've got close enough to the rough shape that it is that we're looking for with the mild steel, the thicker mild steel. You saw I used the swage block and we hand hammered in a little bit of a pre-form there, and that did indeed help us out as we then drove it into the tool and kind of had to tweak it and hammer on it to get it to work. And this is why when you see things that are industrially made on drop forging equipment, it takes a lot of effort to make the dies to make it, because all that trial and error we did, then multiply that by 10 billion for the complexity that some things can be stamped out at, and it's pretty interesting, you know, trying the primitive way and then realizing that literally hundreds of things in this workshop had to be made that way. My Yeti cup had to be made that way. Every tin can you see involved the trial and error of pressing things around. So my little hobo podunk thing there that's still pretty rough around the edges is a very small drop in the ocean of how forming things and forming shapes can be done. So that is humbling, because I realize how much there is to know, but it's now on to the next thing. So we need to make a supply run, because we got an issue with the equipment we have. Here is our sword, and here is our etching bath. Just a little too short. It's time to go to town, and I'm gonna need this. Right, so we need big pipe. Big plastic pipe. And no big plastic pipe here yet. First place did not have what it was that we needed. We found some. Ugly duckly. Let's grab some food. We got food. Okay, so we're back at our workshop and I'm gonna PVC cement this pipe. We do not want to drop any acid once it's in here. There we go. And this is gonna be for our bicarbonate of soda to neutralize the acid. Do you ever see me making more than a 3-foot blade? Oakley. So what we're going to do now, this has been drying for probably 24 hours or so. I mean, I only dropped it once or twice in the drying process. And what we're now going to do is we're going to very gently start working in the handle form on the belt grinder. Hopefully it stays together. This looks like a katana! This is insane! It's a katana! So what I'm going to be doing tomorrow is I'm going to be etching the blade, giving it the final etch, which is obviously a very daunting process. And you saw we went for our little drive into town, and we got these bits of PVC pipe. We PVC cemented on the ends to them. This is some ferric chloride. Put a little in the bottom. I'm now going to put some water in. You know, I probably should have done water first, because then it would have been a good idea to know if it leaks or not. I still don't have a hose, so this is a little precarious. And I'll put a little more ferric chloride. I'm aiming for a 1:4 ratio of ferric chloride to water. There we go. Top it up. And so I'll make sure to give that a little bit of a mix, and tomorrow, in tomorrow's episode, you're indeed going to see us not only continue... God, that's a good fit. On the handle. And what are we going to be needing to do? We're going to be needing to carve out and then inset some stingray leather. Oh, yes, but we're going to be doing the final finish and the etch on the blade. So I'm looking forward to seeing you on tomorrow's episode. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. We're making videos almost every single day. You get to see what we get up to here in the workshop, and it's a thrill bringing you along. Drop us a like, leave a comment. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.